Yeah, for sure, man. Very excited to be here today with Jeff Ulrich and Reed T. Fowler. DK is behind the scenes on the ones and twos. Producer Eamon helping us out as well. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Slate, everybody. I think we have decided about 2 minutes ago what we're going to do in this show today. I think we're going to slowly kind of go one by one through the 6 wild card games that we have coming up this weekend. We're going to talk some golf, absolutely. And big news today that was announced as well with the PGA Tour, like Hard Knocks here, guys. Looks like there's going to be kind of like a PGA Tour edition of that. I know Jeff's really excited.
I mean, I am actually. I'm a little bit not excited because Usti's not. Louis Oosthuizen doesn't look like he's going to be involved in it, but I'll watch it anyways. I mean, there's other golfers that I kind of like. So.
Yeah, no, we know that. Well, I think Finau, is it Finau part of it?
Yeah, the star of the show is going to be Tony Finau. We all know.
I knew it.
And he was one of the first to commit. So, I mean, let's be honest here. He has foresight. He knows what he's doing.
I mean, in all seriousness, of all the players there, like Finau probably has the most interesting background. If you've read anything about him, just how he grew up, he definitely took a non-normal path to becoming a PGA pro.
Guy's hustling, man.
Used to work, slept out of his car for a bit and stuff like that. So very interesting, dude. That is one of the players I'm definitely interested in.
He used to drive to Vegas and hustle in like these cash games.
Yeah,
where like they'd be down like a lot of money. I don't know if it's $8,000, but that's a number I was about to say. But they'd be down a lot of money, and he and his brother Gip would be, one down with 2 to play, and like one down with 1 to play, and he's an eagle in the last hole, and he sinks it from the fairway. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that Tony Finau can do, not withdraw with back pain.
That's cold-blooded. Yeah. Has he ever withdrew because of a grain of sand in his eye, Jeff? No.
He fractured his ankle.
He finished T10 at the Masters with like 1 leg.
That's exactly right. He had a leg amputated and finished the Masters. I'll never forget that.
That's someone you want to root for. Louis.
Absolutely.
Louis, dude, makes sausage. South American sausage maker.
He's got his own mattress, custom mattress for Louis because he's got old back pain.
Okay.
No way, kid. All right. Speaking of back pain, your Raiders, Reed. I'm sure. Second, you're right because the Pats did run the hell over the Bills. It's like in that first meeting, but in that second one, it was almost 450 yards of offense. They eclipsed the Bills did more than 100 yards on the ground and another touchdown in the second matchup. But Jeff, like Reed's right here. Like Mac Jones is just not a high volume passer, like really equipped to match like Allen in this high powered offense. It's the 3rd ranked scoring offense. So does it come to an end? I guess the Patriots run here. I mean, back to the playoffs for the first time without Tom Brady.
So, I mean, we alluded to the weather here, and I mean, it looks like it's going to be more inclined to be like the first game these two teams met, the second game. My favorite bet here is the under. I don't know why this total has risen, but it's risen from 43 to 44. And I like the under here. I mean, both these teams, like we mentioned Mac Jones not playing well. Josh Allen's completed 48% of his passes in the last 2 weeks against the Jets and the Falcons. I mean, no one's playing well here.
Yeah.
The Bills have been winning with defense and running. And I said this yesterday. I think the Bills are the better team. I think these conditions probably just favor the Patriots again. And I know that's like a tired thing, but I really do feel like, I just take the points. I think these two teams have been up and down, right? All of a sudden the Patriots look elite. Then it's like Mac Jones looks like a rookie raw quarterback who's terrible again. He could easily bounce back here and just go back to being efficient. And Josh Allen could bounce back too. The Bills have been up and down all year. These two teams have just been like, it's been, up and down. And I don't really have a solid lean here. I think Reed's right. When it gets to 3, that's probably a spot where you jump on the Bills. But if it stays at 4 above, especially if it's the 4.5, I would take the points here. And, again, last factor, it's cliche, whatever you want to call it, but it's backed by hashtag stats. I mean, it's Bill Belichick, as an underdog in the playoffs. Do you really want to bet against them? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Allen, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You're right, Jeff. He has not been sharp, but I think many expect.
Oh, but he's just been up and down because he's had a couple bad games earlier in the season. He's bounced back from them too. So I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm just saying if we're going to give Mac Jones, he's not playing well, you got to give Josh Allen the same kind of credit or discredit.
But like
right?
not playing well as a rookie in the playoffs, or not playing well as someone like Josh Allen, who's
I agree.
arguably, yeah, that's
and that's why I say, I mean, I still think the Bills are like probably the better team here, but this is I think with the weather factor too, it's like I said, I just rather bet the total and the under. So.
And I think with that under as well, I think that's part of the promo that the DK Sportsbook's running. If anyone out there is interested, I believe every 5,000 people who bet the over, the total will drop half a point. So that is, it was 40. I think it's 44 like right now without the promo. Earlier this morning when I was at the office, I think the total was like 33. So something to definitely consider there if you guys are active on the DK Sportsbook. Who's given the Eagles a shot against the Bucs? Jeff, covering possibly. The Bucs never trailed. I do know that in their Week 6 meeting.
I mean, I'll go further. I think the Eagles are live to win this game. Here's a stat, and of course I don't have it up, but I know I remember. I just can't remember who gave it out. But the underdogs over the last 5 years in the wild card round are 15-7 ATS. They have a pretty good record straight up as well. But I love this spot for the Eagles. There's a lot that I just don't think is being factored into this line. The first thing is, how good are the Bucs without their top 2 wide receivers? We really don't know because they played Carolina and the Jets, and they almost lost to the Jets. I think that going up against a team like the Eagles, who has really good corners, 2 top 20 rated corners on PFF, Darius Slay is 7th rated. I think they're going to be able to shut down Mike Evans. And I think Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady are going to have to win this game. And they can win this game. But do you think those two are capable of covering an 8-point spread at this point in their career? I just wouldn't want to trust that. The other factor is Jalen Hurts, man. You go back to that game. He played terrible against the Bucs. He got shut down, but guess what? They still covered. It was a 6-point spread. Jalen Hurts can move the ball at any point in the game, and he can recover from bad plays really quickly. And I think at 8.5, if this is over a touchdown, I'm very interested in the Eagles. Like I said, I don't think we know how good the Bucs are. They've got a lot of players returning from injury, haven't practiced in a while. All the Eagles players are back from COVID. They're basically off a bye week. Bye weeks are, this is when teams really play well. Like, it's not really being factored into the line here. I'm interested in the Eagles money line. I think you're going to see an upset here. That's my big call of the week.
I mean, Reed, both these teams look totally different on offense compared to when they met back in Week 6. For example, like Philly has this identity on offense, and it's the number 1 ranked ground attack, which is led by its quarterback.
I don't know what the deal is with people not liking Jalen Hurts. Yeah. I mean, I think this guy is a quarterback, great quarterback in the making. And if you look at his stats, and I know Lamar Jackson isn't doing all that great, but he's had either comparable or better stats than Lamar Jackson over the not we, us three, but the NFL writers, right? They anointed him an MVP. So if that's the case, then a guy who, and look, the Eagles look like one of the smartest organizations right now, getting rid of Carson Wentz.
I think it was, and I think Jalen Hurts, just to your point, I think he's like the lowest paid starter in the NFL or something like that. Like, he's definitely the lowest paid starter in the playoffs. Like, it's like you said, it's credit to the Eagles. They made a smart move. They saved a ton of cap space, right? They
got rid of $100+ million in cap space. They got rid of, turnover worthy Carson Wentz, who can't essentially, when the chips are stacked up against him, he can't, for whatever reason, get out of his own way. And look, that's not only Carson Wentz's fault with the Colts, but going back to the Eagles, I think now when you take a rookie quarterback, right, and Jalen Hurts isn't a rookie quarterback, but let's, for argument's sake, say that this is his first year starting, they made it to the playoffs. And it wasn't just about their defense. It wasn't their stable of running backs. It's really Sirianni, again, a rookie head coach who knows how to best position his offense around the strongest parts of that, which is Jalen Hurts. You take a look at that game last time, guys, and Leonard Fournette and Antonio Brown were probably the 2 biggest contributors for the Buccaneers in that last game. Right. And I'm not to say that, like, just because they're potentially going to be gone or unhealthy. And I'm not sure if Uncle Lenny's coming back this game. I think he might still be out. I got to double check on that. But
I thought he was back at practice.
Okay,
he was back working with a trainer last week on the sideline.
Okay, so that's big. That's big. Having said that, though, plus 8.5, I'd be extremely comfortable with taking the points with Philly. I'm on Jeff's side. You take a look at the deficiencies with the Buccaneers. Like, I know they're a decent run game, but a guy like Jalen Hurts can completely change the landscape and the dynamic of any play, any series. And if Bruce Arians is able to, and Todd Bowles is able to scheme to get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' his hands, and you still have capable players on that offense, right? In Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith, who can make plays and move the chains. I think that's the biggest thing, right, for these rookie players and these quarterbacks. And that's why I don't really like Mac Jones a ton, is can they keep on schedule? Can they keep ahead of the chains? And when you have a guy like Jalen Hurts who can pick up 6-7 yards on a scramble, he can pass it to Dallas Goedert. Devonta Smith can beat any cornerback, and we've seen it all season. That's a big difference outside of, right, a guy like Mac Jones, who might not have the same power in terms of players that a guy like Jalen Hurts does. So I'm with Jeff. You know, like the money line, I think it's probably one of the sharper plays on the book, you know, this weekend, is that Philly is extremely live. And look, Tom Brady has said it too in his press conferences. This is a tough team to play against, and they're playing really, really well. And the momentum is on their side.
Could see Brady connect with Gronkowski a couple times. Maybe they remember what happened in Super Bowl 52.
They could also sack Jalen Hurts into oblivion and he turns the ball over 3 times. I mean, that is a possibility. I think this game has a wide variety of outcomes. But with that, when there's an 8.5 point spread and you think there's a variety of outcomes, you take the points. So
yeah, for sure.
Tease it down, right? Okay. Like if you tease it down, and like the Patriots, I forget, you know, if they get down to 3, I don't think you need to, but this might be one of the teaser legs. And then maybe when we get to the Rams game, like that's what you got to think of too, right? If you don't think that they can do it, or if you think Buccaneers are going to win, tease them down. I don't think you need to tease the Eagles up. But yeah, this might be one to tease down if you're on the Tampa Bay side.
By the way, guys, a couple hours ago, Bucs designated 3 players currently on injured reserve to return to practice. So Levante David, Leonard Fournette, Giovanni Bernard. Okay, so let's go Cowboys 49ers. This one has the makings, could just be the game of the weekend, really, because I think the 49ers are healthy. Deebo Samuel is like doing everything here, guys, and they are road dogs. By the way, all home teams, no surprise, like favored this weekend on Super Wildcard weekend. But you've got the Cowboys and their top scoring offense, right? But then the 49ers come to town here, Jeff, with a defense that is top 10 in the pass and also the run here.
Yeah. I mean, this line, I looked at it first, and it just feels like they're begging you to take the Cowboys. -3 at home, basically saying these two teams are neutral, no respect given to the division winners. And my first inclination was, like this line is too small. Like you look at these two teams, the Cowboys not really getting any respect here. What have the 49ers done? They didn't win their division. They barely got in the playoffs. But, you know, the more I look at this game, man, like I do not want to bet against the 49ers. This is a team who's been held under 23 points once in their last 9 games, and it was by the Titans. And the Titans defense has been very good of late. And I just, you know, I look at this game. I think that eventually the 49ers, even if the Cowboys get some pressure, eventually that offense is going to get going. And I mean, I see a close game here. I really do. I think that the over is definitely in play for me. Again, we got a dome game. Don't have to worry about the wind. We've got 2 very efficient offenses. A team in the Cowboys who tends to not let up either when they get ahead, which is nice. So again, I go to the total more here than the line. I think that if you're looking at this and you're just kind of handicapping it, you've got to say that, you know, the bet here at 3 is probably just to take the Cowboys. They're at home, but I do not want to bet against San Francisco 49ers pretty much as I don't want to bet against Bill Belichick. And if you're looking for a little bit of a trend, Kyle Shanahan, 16-9 the last 3 years as on the road. So the 49ers have been very good road teams, spread teams, covering on the spread on the road over the last 3 years.
It's smallest spread on the board this weekend, Reed, but the highest total there of 50.5. So Jeff kind of mentioned like he's leaning a little bit towards the over because of the dome, no weather, but I'm looking at like the 49ers can kind of dominate that time of possession with 7th ranked ground attack here, just as long as they can avoid turnovers, which Jimmy G had a couple interceptions last week, but still look pretty good with a banged up thumb, a little north of 300 passing yards.
Yeah, if he, again, that's the thing why Jimmy gets such a bad rap is that those 2 or 3 plays a game where you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Like throwing into like triple coverage at one time. Like those are the plays that can really change the landscape of a game, right?
Just to interrupt Reed for a second.
Yeah,
those are okay. Like that's part of the reason why I like the over here. If Jimmy G is probably going to throw a pick or two, that's fine because that's going to mean quicker possessions. It could mean a pick 6 the other way. And this 49ers will just pick up their pace of play if that happens. So sorry, go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. And that's why I was going to say like the over is definitely in play because you give a Cowboys team a short field, right? With that defensive line that can be very, very active against the 49ers, that can wreak havoc. But the reason why I'm with Jeff here, the 49ers as well, I liked them last week and they came through. It took a little bit long for them to come through in my best bet of over 20.5, but they did it. Is that Shanahan, look, they were down 17-0 in that game against the Rams. And then they came back and they essentially scored 20 unanswered points, right, in the second half. Shanahan is such a good coach. And yes, he gets in his way sometimes. He gets too analytical. It's analysis paralysis. But now you get a Shanahan team against his old coach in Dan Quinn on defense, right? Dan Quinn comes with these exotic, blitzes, and he's got a good defense. He's got a lot of good players who are healthy, but you got Shanahan who can deploy a play action, and the Cowboys are 24th against play action, the defense. You're 22nd in terms of yards per play on defense. And when you have a running back like Eli Mitchell, boy, is that a big miss in the whole fantasy industry that we thought Trey Sermon was the guy. Eli Mitchell looks like, the player that all of us should have been targeting like in the last round of our NFL drafts or season-long drafts. He looks fantastic. If he's doing what he did against the Rams, and like, I don't think that the Rams and the Cowboys defense are that much different. I'd say the defensive line on the edges, maybe a little bit better for the Cowboys, but look at what they did against the Rams, right? They completely, it stomped in their, on the second half, and they put up a ton of points. So I really like the 49ers, especially against this defense that we all think this defense is fantastic. And they create a lot of turnovers. Trevon Diggs, he's either good for a pick 6 or giving up a touchdown.
Yeah, or giving up a 6. Exactly. Which,
again, Yeah. And Deebo Samuel is fantastic.
Dude, he's doing everything. He's throwing touchdowns, running for them. He's catching almost 100 receiving yards like a game. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm really excited to watch
Jennings
this game
too. Yeah.
I think this is going to be the most entertaining game of the week. But man, like for a spread, I mean, I'm like I said, my initial reaction was a 100% Cowboys, and I have basically done like a full 180 here where I'm almost considering like trying to get I might even have some money on the 49ers here. It comes down to coaching. Do you want Kyle Shanahan or Mike McCarthy? It's a pretty rhetorical question. So.
Yeah. The 49ers secondary, again, still banged up. So I don't worry about San Francisco being able to keep up either, right? I think they have the players to keep up with Kittle, Ayuk. Juwan Jennings looks really good. And Deebo Samuel. So I don't mind it at all.
All right. We can go quick on this one. I think we can. Steelers, Chiefs. Anything, Jeff, for this one? Do you think what chances do the Steelers actually have here?
So I don't think the Steelers are going to win. I don't think Ben has enough gas left in the tank, but I do think that this game will be closer than people realize. I think the Steelers have an elite pass rush. They're good at limiting big plays. And, if they can move the ball a little bit, Najee Harris has run it pretty well the last few weeks. That is a weakness of the Chiefs too. 2 bad rush defenses here. I think the 12.5, again, I'll take the underdogs. I threw out that underdog stat. 12.5, man, it just feels too big. The Steelers have beaten legit teams over the past 4 or 5 weeks. It may not be pretty, but they keep games close. And I think this one will be closer than people think too.
Okay. Reed, do you expect the Chiefs to kind of beat the Steelers here convincingly for the second time in 4 weeks?
No, not really. Chiefs don't cover teams, right? They really haven't covered a lot of teams this year. And I like the under as well. Just because I don't think that, like you mentioned, guys, I don't think that the Steelers can keep up. I don't think the Chiefs either need to do a lot, right? Like, so this one's at home. I know the Chiefs are, covering over the last 5 games, but when the playoffs come, I don't really think that's going to be the case, right? So I like the under.
It feels like we're back to getting the Chiefs at like like we have to pay a premium now in the spread.
Yeah.
Like when they were playing bad, you were getting the Chiefs at good numbers, but it feels like now that like that's not the case this week. So
I will say that. What's up, Reed?
No, I was going to say 62% of the cash right now is on Kansas City at this number.
And Casey's defense has been forcing turnovers at a high rate, at least recently. Oh my God, I sound like Ulrich, logging 14 takeaways since week 13. Let's take this home here on the NFL side. Monday Night Football. I think it's kind of cool to have a Monday Night Football game when it comes to Wild Card Weekend and the playoffs. I just like NFL on as much as possible, like every night on my television. That's definitely ideal. This is another one of those series similar to the Bills and Pats here, Reed, where in the regular season series, the road team won. Mm-hmm. And while the Cardinals haven't really been able to figure it out at home, they've been 8-1 on the road this season, dude.
Yeah. And Stafford is going the wrong direction right now.
Yeah, he is. He looks terrible right now, dude.
And you saw that in the second half against 49ers, right? Like that. I thought at that game, I'm like, oh, this is 17-0 at half, whatever it was, 17-3. I thought that was going to be, a game that really that the Rams kind of, put their stamp on it and go into the playoffs with a lot of momentum. I honestly think right now Kyler Murray has been the better quarterback of recent. Even though he's been banged up, he's been a lot, he's throwing less turnover worthy plays. And for whatever reason, like it's not OBJ, I know that, but it feels like Stafford is trying to be the nice guy and distribute. Even though Cooper Kupp is that guy, it feels like the offense has changed a little bit. And that scares me. I think these linebackers, the defense, are a little bit slower than people anticipate or they see. Aaron Donald is fantastic, but these teams have seen each other, right? So yeah. I'm not like, again, the points are definitely there with Arizona. I'm sort of against the Rams. They're my preseason pick. I still think that they're going to do well, but I don't know. 3.5 right now. That feels like right at that number, Jeff, that you want to take the Cardinals. I still think the Rams win, but the Cardinals, I think this is a lot closer than people are going to think. I think it's like a 1-2 point game.
Because I was going to say, like, despite Stafford's mistakes, like the Rams can outscore the Cardinals here because let's see, without DeAndre Hopkins, the team Arizona averaging just around 20 points per game between weeks 15 and 18.
He's
been ruled out. He's not playing this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's kind of like people haven't talked about it, but the Cardinals offense has looked way less efficient without DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray's. You just look at his completion percentage from the start of the year, the first 5 or 6 games, to the last 5 or 6 games, it's way down. Kyler's playing well, but he doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins out there. Mm-hmm. Now he's got to rely on like AJ Green, Christian Kirk, and like these guys just aren't as good. So it's a tough spot for the Cardinals in that regard, but like Reed is right. We can't sit here and say, oh yeah, the Rams are going to win because they're not playing well either. Both these teams just have deficiencies. I really like the Cardinals at 4.5 just because of the way Kyler was playing. And I think Kyler will be able to move the ball with his legs. And I think, again, much like Jalen Hurts, it's a little bit of an underrated factor with a high variance quarterback like that. What if he rips off a long run, kind of similar to what he did like against the Cowboys and they get a lead early? The Cardinals defense isn't terrible and the Rams offense hasn't been playing well. So I think you've got to kind of lean the points here. I don't trust either of these teams. Like my initial take was if anyone's favored by more than 3 points, I'm taking the other team. And I guess I'm going to stick with that. But this is a game where I don't have a really strong, this is probably my weakest take this game because
it's okay.
Realistically, both these teams are just like, I don't have a strong idea of exactly where they're headed. I think that both of them are very beatable, but they're both sort of capable of rising to the occasion, much like the Cardinals did 2 weeks ago. So I guess just take the points. I think Kyler is playing better than Stafford. I think he's playing better than people realize, but he just doesn't have that high-end receiver. Can he get by without it for one game? Yeah, he probably can. I don't know. This one's it's going to be an interesting one to watch too, but very similar teams, like very similar coaches, similar schemes, got that college kind of innovation going with it, but neither one is really like executing at a high level on all phases. So
two guys that are hurt though, in the sorry, I'm saying on the Rams side on defense, Jordan Fuller, who's their safety, who's been starting every.
Eric Weddle's back. Eric Weddle.
Oh, that's right.
Eric Weddle's back. So Jordan Fuller
that's
is
not
on
a great
IR.
thing. That if they're going to be using Eric Weddle. I know. And I saw that. Yeah.
Taylor Rapp too. So those two guys are massively important to that defense. So
Fuller is that's a fantastic point. I forgot about the Weddle news. No.
Eric Weddle hasn't played in 2 years. He retired after the 2019 season.
Yeah. And there's a reason he retired. Like he wasn't playing as well. I mean, he was a great player in his prime, but like he was kind of done. So I don't know where this is going, but
yeah,
it's not a great sign for if you're a Rams fan.
Not at all. So we got about 4 minutes left in the show. Let's hit on some golf here really quick, guys. Read your article. I've listened to you all week long. You are a phenomenal golf analyst. I know you mentioned that a lot of the success at this tournament, Sony Open, a lot of these guys who have success here, they had success the week prior at the Tournament of Champions. So give me a guy you're targeting here for a bet.
Yeah, I wish Louis Oosthuizen was in this field because I think this sets up perfectly for a guy who, so we can bet him. Yeah, a lot of success, right? I mean, it makes sense. It comes from like guys who the problem with that though, you have to kind of put it in context. They're good players, right? They're past champions from last year. So of course they're going to play well, but we've seen guys not play well or not play the week previous and win. Jess Boy, Russell Henley did it. Right. There's been a handful of guys, Fabian Gomez, I think Johnson Wagner did it as well. So keep that in mind. But the guys that I like, I think you have to take it from a value perspective. You can take long shots. I definitely have some on the article that you mentioned, Emerson, that we'll get to in a little bit. But Hideki Matsuyama plus 1,800. When I see his name against Corey Connors, and I love Corey Connors, he's one of my favorite players this week. That seems like value to me at plus 1,800, right? Because we know his upside is winning the Masters, right? And Connors' upside is not necessarily there, but he's worthy of doing well here. So I like that number for Hideki Matsuyama. And if you get into this range, we've seen around plus 5,000 be the average odds of the past winners. And probably my favorite in this range is Seamus, right? Seamus is there at plus 4,000. He's a great ball striker. I'd love to bet Mav McNeely because he's on the old season-long team. Let's go. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because he's never played here. And that's the big thing is guys who haven't played at this course don't necessarily do well. The only got to do it, again, is Jeff Spoy and Russell Henley. So those are the two guys that I like in that range, and we'll probably get to the long shots at the very end.
Okay, what's Charles Howell III's numbers?
CH3 sticks?
Yeah, bro. I didn't realize he's 20 for 20 playing here. Like 20 for 20 playing the weekend with 10 top 10s and a pair of runner-ups. Like, okay.
He's made like 20 million just at this event alone.
It's wild. No one's made more money at this event than him. That's a good point, Jeff. Jeff, give me a couple guys you like here. I know we're running tight on time.
Yeah, for sure. So, but like following what Reed said, I mean, I think Matsuyama is fine if you're going to bet him. He's right. I mean, he looks just a little bit undervalued when you compare him to the players that he's up against. I'm definitely just pounding this like plus 4,000 and above range. Mm-hmm. If you can get like Henley above 3,000, that's fine. But I've got Seamus Power on my card as well. So dude he's played well at these type of venues too, like Hilton Head, top 5. There's another one in there. I think the Wyndham RSM Classic T4. Yeah. These are very similar venues to what we're seeing this week. This is the fifth time he's playing the Sony Open. He's playing good in all facets, like around the green as well. He's getting hot with the putter. That's what you need. You don't need power at this course. You just need good course management and be able to really get hot with those scoring clubs. I think plus 4,000 is fine. Again, we want players in form. He played last week. We like that. I'm on Siwoo Kim for the same reason. He just plays really good at these courses. He was T4 here, I think back in 2016, the first time he played, plus 5,000. I don't even care what his stats were last week. I just like that he played last week. Yep. So he's on. And then I'm taking a shot with Christian Bezaden, who I think you're going to see this guy win. He's a very good up-and-coming player, 4 professional wins over the last 4 years. He really fits this course well, too.
Okay, Reed, was there anyone else? I'm sorry.
Top strokes game putting, great around the green game, great proximity from the short irons. So go ahead.
Sounds
yeah. I mean, the guys that down low, I think Brandon Grace at plus 10,000, Coastal Course winner. He won the RBC 2016. That we've seen a lot of corollaries there. He won the Puerto Rico Open. That's a coastal course, right? Resort type of course. And a guy that I always find myself betting and losing money on is Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson won the Honda Classic. He's played well at the RBC. He's played well at all the corollaries. He's played here like 11 times. And so Michael Thomas at plus 20,000. Again, that seems like very deep odds, but he's also someone maybe more like top 5, top 10, top 20, first round leader. Well, but those are two guys that I have my eye on.
You know, I was there the year that he won the Honda Classic. And then like the following year, I got in touch with his agent and I'm like, hey, I have this like funny like story idea because no one really knew who he was. He looks just like his regular Joe. I'm like, we say like he and I just kind of like walk around and we talk to people and they don't really even realize like he's the defending champion here. And you know, you've seen like Jimmy Fallon do that with certain guys. And the agent was like, yeah, he's not really feeling that one.
Well,
I'm like, you gotta do
Netflix
some like
special.
funny stuff, you know? Come on.
Get on the Netflix docu, Thompson. Come on.
That would have been perfect. Yeah. Real big opportunity missed there for Michael Thompson.
Well, dude, yep. Come on.
mean-
I'm the husband of a 2-time Emmy winner. Who wouldn't want
I
to do a
do-
story with me?
In all seriousness, this is the type of course where you want to take a shot with him. I got to throw out at least one more name though here.
Go.
Steven Yeager plus 15,000. This dude has like 5 Corn Ferry Tour wins. He really gets it done when he's in contention. Second in around the green stats over the last 50 rounds. Very can get very hot with the putter as well. This is it's a good setup. He's played here a couple times too, man. He's played pretty well over the fall. This is another player. You're going to see Steven Yeager win a PGA Tour event at some point over the next couple of years. He's just that good with his scoring clubs, and it'll probably come in an event like this. So I really like taking a shot with him this week.
All right, guys. I think that's all the time we have. I know, Reed, you have a couple articles like on your Twitter timeline. Jeff, I don't know. Do you have any golf stuff on your Twitter timeline?
You can go to DK Nation, check out the PGA cheat sheet where I talk all about Christian Bezadenhout and a couple other players and stuff like that. You just follow me at the Fantasy Grind because I'm always tweeting them out and stuff.
Yeah, you are. All right, guys. That was a good time. Fun stuff. Just flies, right? Flies when you're just hanging out.
Especially when the
best
Madden
friends.
game goes long. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, man, that was a ballsy call by Dallas there on 4th and 1.
Clutch play by Jack.
Oh, and remember, if you're in one and done tournaments, make your selections. You have some time because it starts obviously at like, same time.
Yep.
I'm good till like the 4th event, then I start forgetting.
Yeah.
Like
So just do that. Make sure you do it tonight or like first thing tomorrow morning at the latest.
Love you guys. Thanks, Eamon. Thanks, Daniel, behind the scenes. See you, everybody.